So when you first joined Forest, which was your first team, what was like the general attitude towards training and preparation for matches?
My general attitude?
Yeah, all the team's general attitude.
Well, mine particularly wasn't very good. I didn't really like training very much. I didn't like the running side of it, you know. But obviously, if you want to be a professional footballer on top foot, you have to be able to train and be fit. So I soon got round it. Preparation was for matches was basically. Do you mean pretty much eating habits or?
Yeah.
Anything like that, yeah.
Well, what we used to do generally was we'd meet at a hotel. If we were going to a home match, we'd meet at a hotel at 12 o'clock, or 11:45, and have a pre-match meal, which would normally be a variety of things, like maybe steak, cornflakes. I used to know somebody had tomato soup and that, and somebody who had digestive biscuits. So there's a different sort of a different meal for whoever wanted, whatever he wanted really, but
yeah.
It was mostly protein that contained meat stuff, you know, in those days. But in our day, then it changed. Nowadays, I think they've changed a bit.
Did you have any of your own ways of preparing for matches, like any superstitions or anything like that?
Not really. No, I didn't. But I always liked to have a white, what do you call it? Elastoplast. What do you call it? Plaster. Tape round the outside of my socks, rather than a lot of people who kept their shin pads on with tape underneath their socks. I liked mine to be over them, but that's about the only sort of superstition I had. I never had too many.
Yeah.
So like when you played in the big games, like Champions League final and things, did you feel any pressure, and how did you cope?
Oh, yeah, there's pressure. It's, well, how did I cope? It was very difficult. Sometimes the manager would take us, for instance, before a League Cup final against Southampton in 1979, on the Friday night of the game, we actually had a drink. He made, yeah, strange one. We went to the hotel and he told us to come down get our bags in the room and come down in half an hour. And we go order 12 bottles of champagne and we get drinking a few, and he started telling us a few stories about his days at Hartlepool and Derby and things like that. And I think it was basically, he thought we were looking very nervous and strained on the way, didn't he? And he thought, well, we'll go one way to relax him and let him have a little drink. We did it a couple of times. It didn't work all the time, but in the Southampton game, European Cup final, they took us away for a week in the build-up to the game, and we come back 5 days before the final. So, we did it the different ways and different times. You know, whatever he felt was necessary that he did.
How did Brian Clough's attitude? How did Brian Clough affect the team's attitude towards training? And do you think any of this was an important factor in the team's success? Well,
when the manager came down, training was always good. A lad called Jimmy Gordon always took his training, but whenever he was around watching training, it stepped up a pace or two. You know, people trying to impress him, but he sometimes come in and would break up training and take it himself. But it wasn't coaching stuff that he did. It was all sorts of, for instance, you getting twos, you know, a line of two and throwing the ball over the back of the head, you know, everybody's got to touch it.
Yeah.
Or turn around and throw it through the legs and back to the front, and different things like that. His training was sort of fun orientated rather than coaching orientated.
Yeah.
That's to like get the team bonded and.
I think so. A bit of fun as well, a bit of freshness to the training.
Relax.
Yeah.
So did you ever change the way you prepared, like mentally for matches,
Yeah, I think I did in 1976. Up until then, I was never one for warming up, like you're asking about training. I was never one for warming up before a game too much. I just thought, I'm young and fit, I'll go out there. But I soon learned that you needed to be warmed up properly and being able to stretch to be able to run around for a big game, you know.
When you went to Derby, did the way you prepared change from when you were at Forest?
Not really. I did the same thing. The only thing is I didn't play very well for Derby. I don't know. I could give you a lot of excuses. I don't know why, but I just didn't play very well. But no, nothing changed.
Did like the manager, like the way they trained, changed from Forest?
Not really. No, there was quite a lot of similarities. Maybe I was just getting older. You know, I was 30 when I went to Derby, and but that move didn't do me very good. No reflection on Derby. Derby were all right. It was just I wasn't very good.
So as the technology improved over time, did this affect like how you trained or how you prepared?
Not really. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. The technology side of it, I'm don't know too much about it, but I don't think it really affected the way we trained. No.
Who was your biggest influence as a player and why?
It was Brian Clough, obviously, because I had a career because of him. Until he came to the club, I look back now and realise I didn't know the game very well until he come. And his brilliance was his communication skills. He was completely understandable what he wanted from you. You know, he left you under any illusions about what he expected and what he wanted. But he was just a genius and the most charismatic man I ever met.
So, like, did your preparation change as you got into like the management side of football?
No, not really. I think you always you're under the influence of the manager. Your most success from was with Brian Clough, and I think we tried to take the same principles into the management side of the game. We didn't do it his way because when I say his way, his teachings we would probably follow, but not the way he got it across because there was only one Brian Clough, and you could never repeat that. You could only do it your own way. But the principles of the game were the same.
Do you think that the preparation footballers make nowadays are effective, and would you have found them beneficial in your playing days?
I think so. I think the benefit of diet, as you were talking about before the match, I think would help because of the benefit of science and that. And they reckon they eat a lot of pasta and stuff like that now. And I think it would have helped. I'm not so sure about the running side of it. I wasn't very good anyway, but there's a question mark. I just think people ask you, could you have played nowadays? Well, I think I could have, because while I might not be as quick as the others, I would feel that they couldn't kick me because they'd be off after one yellow card, and I would feel that I'd tempt them into kicking me so to get them off. But no, I think if for instance any player like Lionel Messi could play in any era, and I think George Best, who played in the 70s, could play in any era. I think good players could play at any time.
Finally, what's your proudest achievement of football?
My proudest achievement is probably winning the European Cup. You know, for a club the size of Nottingham Forest, is really something special because I think we're the smallest city ever to have won it, and to win it twice was just truly fantastic. But I've got to say, I played with some brilliant footballers, and I had a brilliant manager. It was a great time.
Is there any players you played with in particular that were?
I thought Gary Birtles was world class. I thought Peter Shilton was the best goalkeeper ever. They were all great players, but you know, I just think Birtles was a really great centre forward.
Alright, cheers for that.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure, my pleasure for the boys.
Alright, cheers.